You lead me to paradise.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Curtis, and today I'm going to review Sistas Season 9, Episode 7. The episode picks up where it left off last time, and that is with Zach arriving at Karen's house. And so she does allow him to come in, and she's like, what do you want? And so he's saying things without saying things, so she does ask him again, like, what do you want? And so he says, you know what, I'll be honest with you. I had planned to reach out to you earlier, but I really didn't know what to say. And to be honest with you, in this moment, I do not know what to say either. And Aaron, he can tell that this situation is getting ready to be a little deep. So it's like, you know what? I will leave the room and let you all have a conversation. And so the two of them, they do sit down. And once again, it's a little awkward. They're trying their best to pull information out of each other. And they're also trying their best not to be too emotional. But at this point, like I said, there's so many tears, so much snot that at this point, just be emotional. It's okay. Just let it out. And so during this conversation, he does congratulate her on being a mother, and he actually asks her if he can hold the baby. And she's like, sure, you can hold the baby. So he does go to the baby. It's very, 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 very emotional. He picks the baby up and he says, I wonder if the baby can tell that, their sibling is no longer here. Is the baby looking for their sibling? And while everything is going on, he notices that Karen is not really paying too much attention because the baby is crying. And in his mind, I guess he feels like because Karen is the mother, that Karen would get up and like, oh my God, my baby is crying. Like somebody grab my baby. But she didn't do anything like that. So Aaron does come back in. Aaron takes the baby. And then Zach sits down and he's like, are you okay? Is everything all right? And she's like, what do you mean? And he was like, because, the baby was crying and you didn't get up. You didn't bat an eye. It was like it was nothing to you. So I'm just trying to figure out if everything is okay. She tells him that she feels like she's walking around in somebody's bad dream. Like, at this point, she doesn't feel like it's fair. Like, why is this happening to me? Like, what did I do? Like, I just wanted to have my babies, and then all of this turmoil is happening. Like, I don't really know what's going on, like, what's happening. And so he's like, you know what? I understand exactly where you're coming from. It's okay to grieve. I'm grieving myself. But you have to make sure that you do not get stuck in this place, because at the end of the day, your baby needs you. You have to be a mother to your child. So you have to figure out a way to get out of this funk. I know it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult for the both of us. But you have the baby right now, so that is something that you need to focus on. And you can tell that it's starting to get through to Karen. And so Karen tells him, you know what? I really want to apologize for everything that's happened, everything that I put you through. And he's like, you know what? You don't have to do that. That's okay. Don't worry about it. She's like, no, I really want to apologize for everything that I put you through. And so they decided to show us flashbacks of some of the scenes from the previous seasons. And I was just like, oh my God, they were super toxic. I was like, whoa, oh my God. I was like, there's absolutely no way in the world that those two needed to be together. There's no reason why those two needed to have a baby together. Like, I was like, wow, super toxic. Like, y'all can keep that shit. The two of them continue to talk, and Zach does say, you know what? I feel like you are going to be an amazing mother. And then she says, you know what? I feel like you are going to be an amazing father. And then he says, you know what? I feel like I'm going to get through everything because I have somebody in my corner like Fatima. And she says, you know what? I feel like I'm going to get through everything as well because I have somebody in my corner like Aaron. And you know what? I actually feel like I'm going to make things work with Aaron, and I'm going to have a family with Aaron. And Aaron, he was kind of eavesdropping. I think he had the baby monitor in the other room so he can hear everything. So when he heard her say that, we're going to make everything work with Aaron, he was like super happy, super excited. And I was like, see, simping works sometimes. After this, we see Andy. She's inside of her office and she gets a call from Dr. Vaughn. And Dr. Vaughn says, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I can't get you off of my mind. I was wondering if you would like to go out to get coffee later this week. And she's like, you know what? Instead of going out later this week, how about we go out tonight to a bar? And he's like, cool. And I was just thinking to myself, like, okay, Andy, you just received a voicemail from Robin saying basically that he's going to let you go, right? So is this a situation where you are really into Dr. Vaughn? Or is this a situation where you are trying to get over Robin by going out with another man? Or is this a situation where, as a lawyer, you're just trying to extract as much information as you can when it comes to the situation that happened with Karen at the hospital? I'm just hoping that she's doing this for the right reasons, because it appears, at least in this episode, that Dr. Vaughn is really into her, and I don't want it to be a situation where she breaks his heart just trying to extract information or trying to get some type of revenge for Robin basically letting her go. In the next scene, we see Hayden, and he is pretty much fanboying out over this guy, Chaz Duncan, like he is doing the absolute most. And I was just thinking to myself, like, okay, if I met my favorite NBA player, would I fanboy out like this? Probably not. I mean, I would be a fan, of course, but I wouldn't do it to this extent. Fatima comes in the room, sees what's going on, and she's able to make an excuse to get Chaz out of the office. And I know Chaz was like, thank God. Fatima and Chaz go out into the hallway, and then next thing you know, we see Tamara. Tamara comes up and she starts flirting with him immediately. And Fatima's like, did you forget that you are with Hayden, the person who works here, the person that's in this office, the person that you came to see? And she's like, oh, that situation's over, it's done. So she continues to flirt with Chaz, gives him her number, and then she walks off. And then Fatima snatches the number back and is like, listen, that woman is bad news. You mess with her, you are going to catch every single STD in the book. Run away from her. You see her, just run. Do not mess with her, right? And so he's like, okay, cool, whatever. And so, in my opinion, I felt like he was being a little flirtatious to Fatima. I'm not sure if she notices this. Maybe she's just like, okay, whatever, I'm just going to deal with it because I'm trying to, expand and do more at this company. But he was definitely flirting with her. Tamara goes into Hayden's office and she breaks up with him. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, why are you doing this? And she's like, well, I feel like you were going to try to get some type of revenge on me because of what I did with Gary. And he's like, look, that was then, this is now. That was the past. We're moving on. We're moving forward. And she's just like, no, I do not believe you. And she actually says that she doesn't love him anymore. And so he tells her that she is not shit without him, that she is trifling, and that she needs to get the fuck out of his office. And she's just like, I knew that guy was still there. And so she ends up leaving, and then he ends up throwing all of his stuff off of his desk. And I was like, oh man, Hayden, you got some anger issues, little buddy. After this, Andy visits Fatima's office, and she says, hey, me and Danny are going to go over to Karen's to get her some food. And then Fatima's like, oh man, I can't believe everything that's going on with Karen. And then she uses this to bring up Zach, and she's like, you know what? I feel like Zach is shutting me out. He's not telling me anything. And, Andy's like, you know what? When it comes to men, they take a while to process their emotions, which is true. And then she's like, yeah, but he always gets on me for taking my time to process my emotions, so I do not understand. And Andy had to remind her, like, yeah, but he's grieving, like he just lost a baby. So it's a little bit different for Fatima. Andy asked Fatima, what are you up to? And she's like, well, I'm actually looking at a lot of paperwork for the clients that I'm working with. And she was like, clients? She was like, I thought you were only working with one person. And she's like, yeah, I was working with one person, but he ended up referring a lot of people over to me. So I'm actually working with multiple clients. And Andy was like, well, what is the extent of it? Like, what exactly are you doing? And she's like, I'm just looking over the contract, making sure that they do not get fucked over. That's pretty much it. And she's like, okay, well, you know what? I feel like that's okay. It'll definitely give you practice just in case you ever pass the bar exam. Emphasis on if you ever pass the bar exam. And I was just like, oh, Andy, what was that? You can tell that really hurt Fatima, but instead of her dwelling on it, she decided to pivot and she brings up Dr. Vaughn because she feels like there's a connection between him and Andy. And Andy, she downplays it like, no, it's nothing like that at all. But she does say that she does plan to have her meet with Dr. Vaughn as far as with Fatima a little bit later in the week just to get some information. And so after this, Fatima's like, well, after you finish with Karen and I finish with the paperwork, we should meet later on so we can have some girls time. And she's like, no, I'm actually just going to go home, go on the couch, and just watch TV. I'm not going to, just go out and do anything. But of course, we know that she plans to meet with Dr. Vaughn later that night. And speaking of Karen, Andy and Danny, they do finally arrive over at Karen's house. They do have gumbo. And Aaron actually tells them that Zach came over. And they're like, wait, why did Zach come over? And he was like, basically he came over to provide some closure for Karen. He felt like it was really good. I personally feel like it's really good as well. It's something that she definitely needed. And also for the audience, it's something that we definitely needed because this storyline between them, it was time for it to close. So I am glad that that is over. And so Aaron says, you know what, let me go in the room and let me tell her that you are there. So he goes into the room like, hey, the ladies are here. And she gets out of the bed and she actually thanks Aaron for everything that he's done. And he is really happy about that. Karen goes into the kitchen. She sits down at the table and she starts eating, or I wouldn't even really say she's eating. She's just kind of like nibbling on it. And the ladies, they can tell, and they're just like, Karen, if you want to get back into better health, you have to eat food. And she's just like, listen, I'm trying my best. And they're like, you need to eat. And then they start to ask, a few more questions about, how she's doing mentally. And she's just like, look, yo, I'm going to keep it real with you. And this is just out of respect. I do not want to talk about me when I'm going on. Let's talk about you two. What do you two have going on? And they were basically saying, like, I don't really have anything going on like that. But during this time, Andy actually gets a text message from Dr. Vaughn. And she's all smiling and everything like that. And she's like, you know what? I actually need to leave. And it was like, where do you need to go? She was like, oh, I just need to go. And I was just like, Andy, you really gonna leave your girl like this? Now listen, I understand, maybe it's been a while since she got some and maybe she's in need. And then also going back to what I was saying a little bit earlier, Robin left that voice message. So she is probably trying to hook up with somebody real quick to get over Robin. But it's like, your homegirl just went through this terrible situation at the hospital. She lost one of her babies. She really needs her friends around her in this moment. And you are choosing dick over your friend? Come on now, Andy, that's fucked up. And as far as Sabrina, she was sprinkled throughout the episode, but I feel like I could just put her at the end. And so Sabrina, she goes to the bar. She meets a couple of guys, and unfortunately, they are to her. And so it doesn't appear like anything is going to work out. It appears that she may just give up. But in the end, she does end up meeting an older gentleman. And he's an old school player, so he's able to, work his magic. And so it looks like everything is going to be good. Everything is going to be great. But then we look over and we see that Rich is there. And you can look at the previews and see that Rich is going to come up and confront them. So it's like, ooh, this may not be good. And also, I do think it is very important to note that Dr. Vaughn is actually at the same bar that Sabrina is at. And so Andy and Sabrina, they are all going to be in the same place. And that was the end of the episode. I do want to thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you all did not watch my last video, which was Love and Marriage Huntsville, I did advise that I am going to review Zatima on BET Plus. It premieres next month. So if you like that show, please subscribe because I am going to review that. And that is everything I have. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye.